basically is responsible for certification and testing, working on basically policy, how we want to certify things. And the discussions that we had, we talked about the test, see the vendor who contributes the solution knows the best about their solution. And they should be the people who provide the test tools, test cases, and we as a OCP community should be able to repeat those tests using their tools, test cases, and get to the same results as they did in their own labs. Instead of us coming with trying to come test scenarios and test criteria for every single contribution, which would take a lot of effort. We, I think, should rely on the whoever contributes a solution to OCP to come with the entire solution, including tests, tools, practices, documentation, etc. And just let, for instance, one of the labs at UTSA that are working with OCP or in China to do the same test. So hence, we are not mentioning that much about specifics of the test. Of course, when the CNI is done with the criteria of certification at higher level, then each committee may be, actually it was a process we started, then we stopped it, maybe a good idea at that point when we exactly know how we are going to approach the certification, then start maybe developing a document about just storage certification. But at this point, we put it on hold. If you go to our wiki site, storage wiki, you see there's a document still under review called storage certification document. But because of all these changes within, because we learn as we go, specifically certification group, then we put it on hold to make clear how the certification will happen, which levels of certifications are there. And then based on that, we decide, okay, how should, because originally we were going to have certification test cases, right? But then we decided, okay, how do we know how to test something that somebody has contributed to us? By just guessing, because we know the parts of technology, but the best thing to do is to ask the contributor, okay, you created this, how did you test it that you are saying these are the norms, these are the results, right? Give us the tools, give us your documentation, and we will repeat it. If it's the same, then it's certified. But that is basically certification groups' task, not mine, or storage groups. I'm just telling why I've tried not to put testing and certification issues
So does it
in
make
detail.
sense to put it in the scope or it's out of the scope?
Mm-hmm.
So just for clarification, does it make sense to add within this paragraph or the section of scope?
Yeah.
To specify, explicitly say that it's out of the scope of this document and the certification or the test and validation is governed by the CNI and the storage test.
Yeah, that seems good.
Yeah. So what you're suggesting is to mention that the certification will be dealt with another group, basically.
Yeah, and so specifically remembering that there's two levels of certification that we're talking about.
Yeah.
One is, does it meet the electrical signal integrities and all the things that the provider has to give? And then there's the whole interoperability. Can I plug it into a PMC controller and an LSI controller, et cetera? So that's definitely.
So this is what I put here. We will go to that. If that's not sufficient, then we will add something, okay, about the certification. But let me go up and go, because we are running out of time, and it's a great, I know 30 minutes is not enough time, but that's all I could get. So what about the Open Rack and Rack 19-inch rack compatibility, these two?
Today we already have like type 3, type 4, and type 7 racks which are storage focused.
Can you elaborate on those?
Like we have this OCP has this type 3 rack which Facebook
Oh, they're all
type 7 and type 4.
Yeah, they are
How
all,
does it
Just use one.
And
And
in
just switch
fact,
back and
not
forth.
just that, even like Project Lightning, how are they
Okay.
going to collaborate
Okay.
with this?
So,
See,
What is
the-
synergy here between those two?
all of the Facebook racks
stop,
falling
and
under
then
open rack, I
the next
believe.
session, you'll hit
So
stop.
instead of,
Okay.
because they might come with another version as well later on. So I tried, when I put open rack, we are just talking about basically 21-inch racks. Now, there could be different versions of it. So we don't want to list all and every of them because that would be too long. Some people may add furthermore. But I think the key differentiator is 19-inch or 21-inch.
So I think the confusion comes to the SKUs, the type 3, 4, et cetera. Those are SKUs for Facebook. The SKUs, for instance, at LinkedIn for the same equipment are actually a different configuration.
That's what I was thinking, but specification.
So the question is, since the live stream is
Yes.
actually working, I'll rephrase the question. Are the SKUs going to be demanded or mandated from the specification used to make those SKUs?
Let me answer this. That's part of the rack. We have a rack, open rack group. They're working on all the specifications of the different racks.
No, that's going to be client specific, right? If I have a use case that says I need NoSQL with 4 milliseconds latency, I go and I test different equipment. I figure out which SKU built for me is right. If I'm a different client, I want large capacity on say NoSQL database, but I don't really care about latency, so I should be able to just set all 10 terabyte drives in there. So helping the community to understand how the testing is going and so on is probably a good idea, but has not been in scope. So it's basically, so far they've had to just get equipment and test it, figure out which ones are right and which ones aren't.
I'm sorry, I interrupt you because we are short on time. We can continue the discussion and I love that, but sorry about that. I need to go through this document. And so now paragraph 4.3, components and peripherals. Any objections or any suggestions?
You're splinged from, I don't want to specify up front, but here I'm specifying, and so where's 3D crosspoint, where's some of the other RDMA, etc.
You're absolutely right. So what should we do?
Specification would just include the network.
See, I put the @C here, but just to give an idea. I
Yeah.
don't want to put into that too much, but at the same time, if we don't put anything, that opens to everything. So we need somehow bring the message over that.
It must include the interface and any network necessary to connect to. Provide I/O from.
It actually looks like it's a combination of the interface and the media and the underlying media technology and also the connectivity technology.
Correct.
So maybe that's how, maybe, if you really want to generalize it, maybe that's how it can be generalized. Is all the interconnect technologies, the networking technologies, and the media technologies.
Disaggregate.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I need somebody to formulate that for me.
I can.
Unless you're actually going to be specifying all the different potential technologies, I don't think you want to do that. You probably just want to say in the first sentence, healthy ecosystem includes many different vendor components, which can include storage technologies, networking technologies, controllers, etc. Something like that.
You'll take a crack at it, Sweet?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
That doesn't help the. I can propose a.
Okay, and you'll post it back out to the general list or? Okay, perfect.
Okay, everybody agrees with that suggestion because that means once I get that, I will incorporate the document and publish these changes. Anybody against it? Let's say it that way. Okay, that means everybody's like. So I will get an email from you, right? I'm sorry, your name.
Summit.
Summit, thank you. Paragraph 5. Please go through that as fast as you can. Objection? Don't try to say if you see anything.
Well, there's an English problem with the second sentence.
So what is it?
So this includes, probably mean includes, but I'm thinking it may want to rework it. So SAS, SATA, PCIe networking together, high-speed interface.
You're reading here, you're too far, I'm here.
Where are you? Oh.
I should have highlighted, sorry. So this part, anybody, any names? No? Okay, so now we are here, now you can take the mic back.
One hand.
Where? For this one or which one?
Howard.
Yeah.
So as a person who's trying to submit something, so there are some high bars to be made.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to give you my box, I can give you the files and stuff that I would use, and it's not clear that anyone else would ever be able to build that based on what I give them, right? The people I work with have tooling that's built for building things. It's done to a manufacturing process that they support. You take it to a different manufacturer, they won't be able to make it interoperable.
You're talking about here.
Yeah, well, basically, I'll go through the whole thing.
No, I just want to make sure everybody understands. You're talking about this program.
Yeah, I'm saying the goal of basically, so we can do,
No,
gotta
wait, I'm
decide
sorry,
what we
Howard.
wanna do.
I'm sorry, Howard, we are short on time. Are you talking about this program?
I'm talking about two
Program?
different vendors can build.
Okay, you're talking about this
fully
program.
interoperable,
You're talking about this program. Go ahead.
because that doesn't normally happen in the real world.
But that's our goal. I understand what you're saying, but that's the whole point of open source hardware to when you contribute something, we want the contribution, and you will see in the process of acceptance now, it's much more tighter because we want a contribution that.
You do realize that there is not a single thing that is submitted to the OCP committee to date that would meet this criteria. Therefore, there is no such thing as a OCP storage unit or server unit, because nothing will meet that.
And that's what we are doing, exactly, and that's why we are doing this. We wanted the contributions to be so that people, third party, taking all the contributions somebody has done and be able to make that solution. That's the whole point.
Okay, that is not going to happen.
Well, that's a subject of discussion, but.
No, it's just a fact. There's no discussion about it. I use a lot of stuff in building a box. I do not own some of the pieces that I use.
Yeah.
I use firmware that
Yeah.
belongs to someone else
Yeah.
that I can't give to anyone else.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pieces here that the IP rights are not owned by the person who will do the submission. So that bar means that there will be no submissions.
Well,
It's only
Well-
saying specification,
specifications,
right?
that,
It doesn't, you can specify.
You just use standard components and
Yeah.
build something up and just design the specification of it. You don't have to give the specific file, you don't have to give the firmware binary, you don't have to give, today we have open standards and we build interoperable devices. Take two hard disk drives, they're interoperable. And I will give any file to my competitors.
I can assure you, they are not as interoperable as they are.
our,
Well, but they're used, and we have a whole industry created around it. Right? So it's to the point where the industry can use the devices.
and point well taken, Howard, but I need to move forward. Anybody against this paragraph? Besides Howard? One. No, we are just voting, no discussion, sorry. At this time.
Well,
Anybody,
against it,
and I'm
because
happy
I
to
think there's
discuss with you later on, but we are short on time. And part of my job is to run it on time. Anybody against this paragraph 5? Okay, 1. We move to 5.1. Now, the gentleman here had a comment.
Well, what I'd recommend is, at the end of the first sentence, put a comma and said that this includes SAS, SATA, PCIe.
Okay, hold on.
networking and other
So
high-speed internet.
your suggestion is this way.
Yeah, and then get rid of the must be outlined at the end of that sentence.
into the code for next, right?
Yeah, it probably includes.
I can undo this, but I'm doing this. Anybody against this change? No? Okay. What about the rest? No?
It's 9:31.
Yeah, 9:30, so we will finish it, because the next presentation is.
Oh, okay.
So I take time from the other time. Electrical, because this is important, more important. Thank you for reminding. Paragraph 5.2, please let me know what you think. All right. Enough time to read. Any suggestions, or actually yay or nay? Guys, I sent this out many times before, so I was expecting everybody already read it. Okay. No comments, so that's approved. 5.3. Oops. That's about mechanical interfaces. Comments? No? Against? No? Okay. Manageability. No? Any comments? Okay, that looks like it. Debugging. I think it's straightforward. Against? No? All right. Test framework. You're okay with that? Against? No? Okay. Submission acceptance process. This is basically describing the process. Yeah.
Previously, you mentioned something about storage test committee.
CNI, yes.
So that's the same thing?
Yes. Certification and interoperability. They changed it, I think, to certification now, but that's a.
So the scope of the CNI, I haven't been actually looked at it. So
Yeah.
the scope of CNI includes both servers and
Everything.
storage and everything.
Everything, networking, storage, servers, mezzanine cards.
Sadly, not data durability.
So any questions, concerns about section 6? No? Against? No? Okay. This is the continuation of that. Those links are live, so you can go there and check it. I'll let you a few minutes, 1 or 2, to read everything here, and then we are almost done. We are at page 8 out of 9. Against? No? Everybody's in tolerance, right?
Trying to help the time.
Yeah. This talks about the meeting and how we will hold our meetings, etc. And last page.
It doesn't do any of the help for the community to understand if they're going to do MIT licensing or which of the licenses they would release it under. We should probably have reference to that.
I put it here, the links, OCP, if you click here or the link here.
Oh, those are live? Okay.
Yeah, on the because they might change it. So I put, rather than putting the entire text here,
Understood.
just okay? Yeah. Are we cool here? Anything against that? No? All right, so we just approved this document. Thank you, everybody. I will save it and go